Hello, everyone. This is Lamia at Tell Me Your Story, right here at CCHA, also known as Clayton County Historical Museum. Here we have the famous Betsy, and I can't wait. This one is a strong one, so bear with me. Give me all your hope and all your chance of making this great.
Hmm.
Betsy, welcome and thank you so much for giving me your time, your energy, behind the scene, motivation, everything. I really do appreciate it. And one of the things that I always think is I am very grateful that I get to know you and really being inspired by you. Are you
Hmm.
ready to do this?
I am. Lamia, thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be here. I'm always happy to spend time with you. So let's do this thing.
Yes. And I can't tell you that your presence and the way you pronounce the words, of course, me with my accent, I'm the last to talk about this, but I always look at you like I have a few words that you always say, and I always look at you like, why can't we pronounce word like Betsy?
Oh
When,
my.
yes, are
Yeah.
you aware of that?
I don't think so, but could you give me an example and then now I'm gonna have to ponder on it, but
It's so many words. Like when you talk, you actually use a silent language. Do you know that? When you say thank you, when you say literally, when you say absolutely, the
hmm,
way you say thing, you really make people listen. But
hmm.
I was wondering if you're aware of that, and also to break the ice because Betsy, and to actually get stuff out of you, I know you are much stronger mentally than me. I'll be
Oh,
there, you know.
I
So
know.
one of the things that people don't know between me and you that every time I see you, I say to you, especially lately, be careful, I'm looking up to you, don't do anything wrong. And you say,
And I say, what do I say? Do I said absolutely not? I'm gonna do something wrong all the time.
you'll say, yes, you say something like that. No, 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 we're here to do something wrong.
Yeah,
So, Betsy,
yes,
who are you? Like, as where you were born?
Hmm. So I was born in Gloversville, New York, in the hospital, Gloversville, Nathan Latour Hospital in Gloversville, New York. My mother, so I'll back up just a little bit. 1962, in July of 1962, my brother was born in the Philippines. My mother had been in the Philippines with her mother, and she got married very young and had my brother there. She found out shortly after my brother was born that he could never be president of the United States because he was not born
In the state.
in the United States, in America. And so when she got pregnant with me, she made a decision that I was going to be born in the United States. So she got on a boat and came through the Panama Canal back to New York, pregnant with me and my brother in tow. So I was born in Gloversville, so that I stood a chance of being president of the United States one day.
And you know, I will vote for you.
Well, I don't know. That's a job that you or I would want to have. I don't know that that's, yeah, yeah.
So then you grow up there, obviously.
So, well, we grew up in New York State, up and down between the Hudson River corridor and then in the foothills of the Adirondacks. My mother was young, she was still in school, she was teaching. My father didn't come from the Philippines, so she was alone with two kids. And so we grew up down both in Nyack for a few years and then came up to Stratford, where I think we spent the most amount of time before we moved to Johnstown, was just where my mother's father and his stepmother were living. He worked in the leather mills in Johnstown. So we lived in Stratford for a bunch of my early years, population 75. I mean, I think we had power because I have this memory of watching television only on Sundays in the morning to watch the WWF. like Chief J. Strongbow, and that was the only television that we ever watched. But I don't think we didn't have much. We grew up in a little farmhouse in Stratford, New York.
Do you think that Betsy have ever got hurt before? Like, do you have time where you thought, "Oh, I'm hurt"?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, so I remember the first time I got hurt. My brother and I were walking home from school at
No, I
Stratford.
don't mean hurt that way.
Oh, well, I think that this sets the tone for that. If you bear
Okay.
with me,
Yes.
let me see if I
Go
walk
ahead.
through this story, and I'll tell you where it, how it lands. So my brother and I were walking home from school, Stratford Central School, and we stopped at the Christman store, which was the general store that was on the way, and it was a snowy day. And my brother and I didn't we lived in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I guess maybe we had friends in school, but when you were on your way home, you were on your way home with your brother, and we had to walk across a bridge. And I'm sure that one of us was being, a little bit sketchy, and I was walking along this kind of edge of the bridge on the railing, and I slipped and I fell in, and I was trapped with my arms over my head between the cement break wall that held the bridge, the snow, and my feet were dangling. And the river, like, because I was stuck, I was trapped in the snow like this. And and I remember just hanging there. And my brother had to go and get Mr. Chrisman, and they put a rope down and wrapped a rope around me and pulled me up. And so I think that somewhere in that rescue, and that kind of that was the first time when, I don't know, you think something really terrible can happen to you. Like, this was bad. I think I think this was bad. But so yeah. Yeah, I think that sets the stage for setting yourself up to how you manage getting hurt in life, right?
Is that your trick every time after that? If you ever get hurt, that's how you think like you're gonna get over it?
Ask for Mr. Chrisman to bring a rope. Well, that's probably
Do you think like someone is gonna come, or how's Betsy see a situation that hurt her, whether it's love or someone pass or all the hurt that each one of us discover and face at some point of our life? How is Betsy think about that, like the hurt like that? How she's gonna get out of it? Do you remember that story and say, "I'm gonna get rescued"?
yeah, I don't know if it's always about rescue, but there's a piece about hurt, I think, that has to do with helplessness,
Mhm.
right? And and when you're hurt, whether you're heartbroken because you've lost somebody, either through death or heartbreak, or if somebody's wounded you because they've just, we've suffered hurt feelings in our lifetimes. I don't know that it's always about being rescued as much as it's about the what's next to that, right? How am I going, what do you do? And how do you move forward from there? Um, maybe you need a lifeline. Maybe somebody needs to bring you a rope. Maybe you just need to take a breath and just say, okay, I give, and let whatever it is happen, right? To wash away the things that you can't control, the things that you have to feel so that you can move on. I think that hurt is just a wonderful natural emotion. I think it gives us some intestinal fortitude. Um, Nobody likes being hurt, but it sure happens. It happens more frequently than we probably let on to, I think.
Do you believe in love? Of course.
Heck yeah,
Feeling
I do.
feeling in love,
Oh,
in love.
oh, love,
What does
love.
that mean to Betsy?
What does
Feeling in love.
what does feeling in love mean to me?
Or how does it feel to you? Uh,
You know, I think there is a certain freedom that is attached to love that, again, just like most emotions, when you let them wash over you, really, love is fortifying and it's cleansing and it's very, very freeing when you let yourself really in love. And you can be in love with people, you can be in love with places, you can be in love with things that you do. I mean, and it is love's an incredibly powerful place to let yourself go.
Do you believe people can love more than one person? And I'm talking about romantic love.
Boy, that's a curious. I've absolutely, absolutely. I think that that's an incredibly, I had a cousin of mine that once said to me when we were having this debate, I think it was after one of my divorces, and he said to me, there are a million people that I've met in my lifetime that I could have married and that I think I loved most of them. He goes, sometimes you just have to pick one and stick with it. And and I began to think about that. That's probably true. I think that I think that I think I have great love for many people in my life, and romantic love, sure. I mean, to some degree. I mean, I think you can be attracted to a multitude of people, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that it's just you've met one person and they're the only person that make you go, oh, this that's not, I don't think that's human nature. I think human nature is to find a great spirit in the people around you, and when you really enjoy somebody, there is some degree of real love or affection or romance that's tied to those relationships. It's an intimacy that you allow some relationships to get to. Now, it doesn't always have to be physical intimacy in the traditional sense. It can be an intimacy and a comfort that's just special between people.
What makes Betsy wake up in the morning and move on and being consistent? Of course, we together on a board, like on the board, yes, for the
Mm,
Rotary and member. And what
yeah.
makes you every day do the same thing for, I'm sure we know each other for more than a few years now, that you keep going to advise people? How do you keep going?
Well, you know, I think that life is short. You only have just so much time to do so many things. Um, I I am a like I wake up happy in the morning. I'm pretty excited to see what the day is gonna bring. Um, and so I don't know, I think naturally I'm just excited to face the challenge of what life has to bring. And you know, I'm not good at a lot of I'm not good at everything, but there's a lot of things that I'm good at. But what makes me feel good is when it matters that I show up someplace. Like, and what I do, and if I show up someplace, and it matters to other people that I show up. And if I show up someplace, then my goal should be to make it better, whatever that is. I should leave things better than when I found them. I should leave people in a better place than when I met them. It should be my job. And I feel good about that because it's something that I don't know whether I'm good at, but it gives me a reason to try, right? If I see you on a day and you have that look, Lamia, where just, you're not quite yourself. If there's anything I can give to you to make your day better, then it makes my day better because it mattered that I showed up, right? For you.
I'm going to go a little bit more deep.
Oh,
I
okay.
think personally that when people are like you, because I claim that you really bring happiness, you're not just saying that. And
Thank you.
I always think you're welcome. And I always think people like that, they must went through a lot. I'm trying to get it out of you to be
Oh,
like really
jeez.
who's Betsy, that the one that when she walks around, she has that empathy for everything around. And I believe empathy comes from a lot of wisdom
Mm.
and a lot of experience. So if you really want to show us Betsy, like your lifetime, like who's your mom, your kids, something that makes you deeply have that much empathy for others.
Boy, Lamia, I don't know that there's any one thing. I think that growing up with a very young mother, it meant that my brother, my mother, and I grew up together. And so there was so much of me that saw life from her lens, right? As somebody that was more my contemporary than my parent in so many ways. And as a and you must know without knowing her that she's an incredibly smart, engaging woman. Marcia, my mom, is just, she's very, very cool. She's very interesting. Um, and she always, I mean, she was one of, she made connections with people all the time. She would always talk with people. And there are really curious situations that I have in my, little snippets of my own little memory picture book in my head, um, where my job when I would be with my mother, was to just be there and pay attention, right? It wasn't my job to be the star of the show or the center of attention. It was my job to just be in the space. And I have this curious memory. My mother was a teacher, and then she also, she was a like a waitress at one of the local restaurant bars, and she brought me in one night. I don't know why, but Mr. B was the guy that owned the restaurant. Mr. B was this big, jovial, robust kind of a guy, and and so I'm sitting at a table in a bar, and my mother's there, and Mr. B, and I don't know, Marcia's talking to somebody else, but Mr. B grabs my arm, and he says, and he starts talking about the waitress. He starts talking about the waitress breasts, and I'm going, uh, huh? It was incredibly curious, and he ordered me a Coke, and he ordered me a rum and Coke, and I don't know, I'm like 10 or 11, maybe, and and so I sat here and just kind of watched this man, and I mean, everybody was happy to see Mr. B, and I was like, Mr. B, this is quite, I'm not sure that I'm all that happy to see you, but here we are. And, but it's those kind of curious things that happen that, um, I think I had to spend a lot of, I feel like I spent time really just looking at people and really watching everything that was going on around and trying to figure out my own right and wrong in all of that. Right? And that poor waitress, who was just a delightful, sweet woman who must have suffered some awful, awful abusive behavior from the likes of Mr. B and probably other people in the restaurant. And my empathy went out to her at that moment. And then my mother worked at that restaurant, and I'm like, it level sets how you see yourself in the world and what could be my role or what am I supposed to do. At that point, my job was to sit quietly and pay attention. And I think that probably experiences like that set the stage for me on how I show up, in particular for supporting women. Um, Now that I'm older and, you know, I can drink a rum and coke without it putting me in a weird way. Um, yeah, yeah. So it might be that. Was that a hurtful experience to me? It was super curious. I thought about that a long time, trying to figure out what was the right and the wrong about life, that something like that could happen, and how this can be okay and what can I do about it.
Did you get married young?
No. Well, I don't know. What's young?
In your eyes, it doesn't matter. Like in normal life, everybody measure it different. In your eyes, you were young or you were.
I got married the first time.
Mhm.
I got married the first time I was 27. 27?
And
Is that young?
in your head, did you feel young or did you feel as the time or what's timing was for you?
So, so anyway, this 26 is kind of the age where, I don't know if ever I've emotionally moved past 26. Like, do you know when you think you've stopped aging, maybe not physically, but
Yes.
mentally? Like, I don't envision myself as a 62-year-old woman. I'm still kind of like this person in my mind that I was before I got married the first time at 27. I don't think had aged out, or I wasn't necessarily I wasn't ready to get married. I wasn't not ready to get married. It kind of happened then. Um, and I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. I think it was the right time for me to have that right experience. And then a year later I had my daughter, and then a year later I was separated from my husband, and that was before I was 30. I had already been married with a child and divorced. Well, not divorced, it took a few years, but separated. I think it was the right age.
And then through this experience, of course, we all say, like, if time goes back, did it shape anything that made you who you are today?
Well, so I think that growing up as a child of a single mom, there's some formatting that you don't get, right? You don't get the understanding about the the nucleus of the traditional family, right? So some of those pieces and parts that I think are normal for children that have the experience of growing up with two parents in the home are different for kids that don't. And I don't think that I had all the formatting to probably understand all the implications of what being married meant. It was probably sensationalized in my eyes by, by what? Maybe the few people that I knew that had really long-standing marriages that I don't know that I understood that relationship either because that was foreign to me, the concept of that. I think I was 9 years old before I even knew that people had mothers and fathers that lived together in the home. I had no idea that that really happened in my mind. I was with my girlfriend, my first girl, like my first good friend, when we had moved from Stratford to Johnstown, the big city of Johnstown, and I went over to her house, and her mother was there, and I think they had a cleaning lady or something that was there, and so we were playing, and all of a sudden, this guy walks into the house, and I'm like, Cece, who's that? And she's like, that's my dad, and I'm like, what's he doing here? And she's like, well, he lives here. And it was like, oh, mind blown. I'm 9 years old, mind blown that people have parents that live together in the home. It was wild, wild to me that that happened. So, so I show up then, almost 20 years later, getting married, still without, I think, some formatting about what it's supposed to be or how it's supposed to be. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it might have was an interesting experience. I got to experience people that had garnered some wealth in their life, and that was interesting. I will tell you that I don't think that money makes people happy. I think that we all come to the table with um, whatever gifts we've been given, and we can choose happiness, we can choose joy, we can choose peace, we can choose malice, we can choose self-righteousness. There's a bunch of different things we can choose in our lifetime, and probably then my first marriage helped me uh, choose, I think, my humility. That I decided that was that's humility is a superpower in the face of humility, and authenticity is a superpower in the face of some of the darkest emotions. I think that that capitalism and wealth can invoke. So yeah, I think I got some great life lessons um, in that
Again.
moment. Yeah.
And then how long did it take you to decide to get married again?
Well, I so I got married again, and I'm not going to remember what year I got married. I think I got married somewhere around 2004. So that would have been maybe 12 years later. My I had my second daughter 6 years after Bridget was born. Did not marry her father, but we had a wonderful relationship in the time that we did before he suffered. Um, he suffered really bad with drugs and alcohol, and so that relationship didn't didn't work out. But we remained friends through the entire time that he lived before his addiction finally killed him. Um, but then I got married again, uh, um, right around 2004.
Do you believe in what does Betsy think about addiction and suffering from addiction?
Yeah, well, I tell you, grew up in the 60s and the 70s and saw pervasive amounts of alcohol abuse, I think, was just really very common. And it was very natural then that that was the way. I don't think I really experienced real, well, I met my first addict in middle school.
Hmm.
We were in eighth grade, and this young kid was popping pills in the eighth grade, and he was uh, he was really he was just it was he he never went to class. He'd walk the halls all day. He'd jump in and out of the bathroom, and I didn't really understand this little handful of pills that he always carried around. He was trying to get people to take them. And then my first alcoholic was also in eighth grade, a girlfriend of mine. She and I would walk home for lunch. And one day we were there and she said, does your mom have any vodka? And I said, well, yeah. And so she sure enough went and she grabbed with a handle of vodka and she started drinking. And sadly, this girl died of alcoholism in her like at 25 years old. And I remember not understanding what she was doing, drinking vodka in the middle of the day on our way back to school. So I don't, and both of these kids, well, they came from different sides of the street, right? The one boy, Kevin, came from, I think, a family that, you know, was not so good. And my other friend, Alicia, came from a family that had this beautiful home. And, the mother was a real estate agent and her father worked at the beech nut factory. And they were very, very upstanding, wonderful people. And so I think early on I saw that addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction doesn't see economic disparity. It anybody can fall victim to the suffering of that. Um, and I don't know that even today, if we completely understand um, who gets picked for that ride, right? It can happen to anyone at any time. My my daughter Bridget suffered terribly with her addiction, drug and alcohol addiction. Um, and it was an awful, awful journey to watch her go through. It was the hardest thing to watch your children suffer with something that you can do nothing about except pray, hope, right? And hope is not a strategy, and that is the path of addiction is not clear for anybody about whether or not they're going to make it to the other side. So I'm grateful every day for those that make it out. We have to celebrate the wins for the people that we see that can make it to, you know, make it. Santana's dad didn't make it. Thankfully, my daughter did. My business partner, Mike, thank God he did, right? There are so many beautiful stories of people that have, but the suffering that they endured, managing that, choosing something different, fighting the demons that go along with addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction. There are so many demons that I can't even know. Thankfully, I feel like I don't suffer those demons, but I am surrounded by people who do, and I feel like I've walked with them. But I can't know what they've experienced. I just know that I think I can be a force to try to help and maybe make it better for some, not for all.
I'm sure you're making it so much better for a lot of people. And
Thank
I
you.
hope right now people are listening to you knowing they're not alone
Mm.
because of the stigma. We
Ugh.
talked about that.
Didn't we? You and I talked.
Yes,
So when I first joined Rotary, and
yes,
it was an interesting. We were at the Elks Club. So in this big, beautiful building, and people would be talking about these wonderful things that were happening with their kids, right? When you do happy dollars at Rotary,
yeah.
my kid graduated from Harvard, they're going to medical school, and people saying all these wonderful, happy things. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm happy my kid's still alive and she's made a year in recovery. And how, it took me 6 years of being in Rotary, 7 years before I raised my hand and celebrated one of her anniversaries out loud, because you feel like you can't, like there's not this, like, it was a happy dollar for me, but how are people going to look at me and say, like, what's wrong with her? She's got a daughter that has an addiction problem. Like, she must be bad or dirty or something. I don't
I
know.
remember when I first noticed Betsy, it was that you putting $1 celebrating your daughter.
Hmm. Right? It took a lot for me to do that. I'm
I
like,
remember looking, so that was the first time?
yeah, it was the first time I said that out loud. Not that people hadn't known
Yes,
about Bridget,
yes,
but
yes,
in a forum like that, right? Rotary sometimes were perceived as elitists,
yes.
right? This is the middle-aged white man's club, but we've let a few women in. Our club is more than 50% women.
Yes.
But still we're perceived as being people that are, we're real people with real issues, and I think we have a lot of really great people that have come to share these small victories in life.
And I think you actually helping people because again, we talked about it, the stigma
Mm.
that I think I heard it from someone. I'm not gonna say the name. He says to me once, he says, Lamia, when someone have cancer, his mother and father and family and friends will feel bad for him. But when you have a drug addictions, they'll hide stuff from you.
Mhm. It's so true. It is absolutely true. We see addiction and mental health, right? Mental health
Yes.
challenges and addiction. We see them as these dirty little secrets, as opposed to real and legitimate health issues and health concerns. I think people can choose mental health issues. And people that suffer, it's not a choice. It is an illness as grave and as serious and as deadly as cancer. And we have so much sympathy for people suffering from cancer, right?
Yes.
As a society, we haven't achieved the same degree of sympathy, right? Or empathy for people that suffer from addiction and mental health issues.
And I love that you said just watching your child.
Ugh, yeah, yeah.
I love that you said it. So someone out there that watching their child, they know that they're not alone. This is something that could happen to anybody.
It can. And it is a lonely adventure,
Yeah.
and it is incredibly hard to find where your support is in that space. Um, I think that if we as a society, maybe not a society that's big, but our community, I think our community has done a really good job bringing issues of substance use disorder, mental health challenges to the foreground. I mean, MHAP, where our that's the haven for all things substance use disorder and mental health challenges. It's the place where we are trying to integrate society with people with some of the hardest challenges, health challenges in the world. And we're going to have them all come together on the same campus and learn to actually see each other, right? To just see each other and to be able to say, we're all real people with real lives doing real things, and some are harder than others. And I think it helps. I think it helps.
When I talk to you, Betsy, and I feel like I'm reading a beautiful book with the sound of it. It's almost like beautiful book. So I always feel like you get it together and saying the right thing, have the mental health all together, even though with everything you've been through and all your experiences, and that's what made you who you are. But I can't help it.
There's nothing better than kissing and a great kiss. Oh yeah.
You feel it
Oh my
like a
goodness.
little girl and all that. Like I
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah. 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 Well, they have to. Geez. So even John and I have John. You know John.
Yes, but
We
people, yeah,
Oh, so John and I have known each other
yeah.
now. We met freshman year in college and we never dated. Then we skied together, we hiked together, we were friends back then. I was a little bit too wild for him, which was fine, but we were really great friends. And then 35 years after we've lived our lives, we ended up running into each other again and met. And this first kiss
Oh,
that he and I had was one of those magic moments. It was at the Bridge restaurant down in just across the Crown Point Bridge, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we had been talking, and it was one of those just magic moments in your life where, right, the kiss makes you feel like you're floating and like you're invincible and you're awash with just love and joy and peace and everything that's good in the world.
so you
Yeah.
had that
Oh,
moment.
I had it. I had that. Just this is John. Yeah. Have you? I
The
know it's not about you, but have you?
it's all about you today.
But it's a great, right? It's a great conversation.
It is. It is. So you did have those
Oh
because
my gosh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. More than once in my life. Absolutely. Absolutely.
does these moments make up for all that experience that you have that you think about, oh my God, I'm looking at this friend or my child and all of that. Did you ever think that kiss over, right? All of that feeling?
Mm, I don't know that I can, you're asking me whether I can, uh, I guess maybe I'm asking, is the question, does something, moments like those,
That makes
make
up,
it all better?
yes, yes.
So I think the simple answer is yes. I think that the real answer is the hardest of moments that I've had in the world where I felt like, you have to work so hard to scrape yourself from the depths of sadness are
Oh,
as valuable as those moments when you feel like you can fly. I don't know that I don't think it's a balance themselves out. I think that we really have to I think we have to appreciate both of them for what they bring to us. And I don't think that there's a balance. I think there's just how what we get to experience and how we're going to experience it, how we're going to show up for it, during it, and after it. Whether it's an amazing kiss or whether it's an, oh my God, the world is coming to an end and I don't know that I can face the day. Both of those things are powerful, right?
yeah.
They're so powerful. What are you going to do about them? You're going to make the best out of both of them. That's what you're going to do.
I heard once that you have to fall all the way to the bottom rock of the oceans in order to feel outside the oceans and the air.
Oh, that's pretty beautiful.
I think,
I like that.
and I think that's exactly what you're explaining. Like all the life that you had, it's almost like a, not really, like it's painful, but it's inspired. The hurt that makes you feel like, oh, that's why you have the empathy. That's why
Mm-hmm.
you have that
Mm-hmm.
mercy on people. I always thought that you've been through all of that
Mm.
to get up and say, "Are you okay?" Or to be the one that I can I can name you the friend that someone can phone a friend.
Is that me? For
Yes,
you? I
yes.
love that.
I'm gonna phone a friend, and I think I did it a few times.
I'm glad I can be there.
You are inspiring, Betsy. I know
Mm.
that. I can I want to even dig so much deep, into your heart so people can
Mm,
see the real you, that it's really real. It's
yeah.
so real. When did you ever dance with a guy and felt like here's the dance at a wedding?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not a very good dancer. Let's just start there. I love to dance. I am a terrible dancer, so I don't think that dancing has ever invoked like these romantic moments for me. But dancing can be an incredibly freeing experience, and I'll tell you, there was a um, I wasn't dating, but I went to dinner with this is way back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And I was working for a weight loss company. Anyway, I was in Rutland, Vermont, and my attorney for the business had was suffering a terrible divorce, and so he and I went out to dinner one night, and we went to dinner, and I guess we decided to go dancing, and I'm like, I can't dance. I said, no, no, no. And he goes, come on. He goes, because I'm 9 feet tall. He was like 9.5 feet tall. We're both these two ginormously tall people. And he goes, come on. He goes, so we're standing on the dance floor. He goes, now close your eyes. And he goes, just move. And I'm like, all right. And so sure enough, here we are closing our eyes. And it was not a romantic, it was like we were dancing. Well, whatever form of body movement could be construed at dancing when the music was going on. But it was the first time that, it was the first time dancing aside from the awkward junior high school or high school dance where you swayed a little because I wasn't one of the cool girls that was able to do the dancing thing, which was fine. So I guess the long answer to your question is no, I've never had one of those like really dancing beautiful, like, oh my gosh, we're like perfectly in sync and this is beautiful. No, but you can get me at a wedding and let me dance a little and I can really have a good time. So.
But I can't have enough of you. I want to say, I want it to be here all day. But someone is keep waving at me that we're running out of
Oh,
time.
are we out of time?
Yes, and that was beautiful. I can't. I think we need another episode.
Okay.
100%. You are inspiring, and I can't thank you enough
So
for being here.
we should focus on one specific topic though, because there are so many. We could walk down a
Yes.
whole path of substance use disorder and mental health illnesses. We could talk about women and really
Yes.
women helping women
It,
and the whys behind that. All of these are really like for me, these are passion moments for me, right?
yes.
Things that are really
And
important.
that's your story
Yeah.
because it's all about your story.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Betsy.
Thanks, Lamia.
I am grateful for
Yeah.
these everything with you. I'm very grateful.
We have a
Thank you.
thing. You
Yes,
and
we
I.
do.
We're
We really
connected.
do. Yes. Well, upstate New York, Plattsburgh, thank you very much. And please make sure to think about your story because you'll be next. Good night, everybody.